We've just started 2022, and I think we can very confidently predict that over the next 12 months, we're going to see some really big changes in the Facebook ads world. And that's what we're talking about in this video, predicting what's likely to happen in the Facebook ad space so you can be prepared, so you can get ready, so you can make the most out of the next year when it comes to your Facebook and Instagram ad campaigns. So the single biggest change that we're likely to see, I think, is to cookies. And Google Chrome and some other browsers have sort of talked a little bit about either fully removing cookies some point during the first half of this year, or at least curtailing their abilities significantly, which is going to make it much more difficult for Facebook advertisers and obviously companies like Facebook, or Meta as it's called now, to track the actions that people take once they leave Facebook and Instagram and these sorts of platforms. It's going to be very similar to what we saw with the iOS 14 changes. Now, obviously, that was limited to iOS devices only, and we've seen massive disruption from that, not being able to track what those users are doing on our websites when we send traffic there. Well, if browsers like Google Chrome and others remove cookie functionality, we're likely to see the same sort of impact. And that's going to have massive ramifications for the Facebook ads industry. We don't know when this is going to happen. We don't 100% know it is going to happen. It's kind of a bit like the iOS 14 setup. We didn't know that either. It just sort of was going to happen, all of a sudden did, and we all had to adjust, and it may well be a similar process yet again. That's probably the biggest change likely to happen. I can imagine a bunch of you watching this has got to go, oh, please no, that's going to make things more difficult. And it will in the short run, but whenever there's changes, opportunity, I'm going to talk about some of the things that are likely to come up and be used to counteract any of those big changes if they do in fact happen, which I think is more likely than not, by the way, I should quickly say. So the first thing I think is likely to happen is Facebook have talked about a new attribution system. And if browsers remove cookies and we can't track people accurately through the pixel, this is going to be absolutely necessary. It's probably going to end up being a somewhat of a hybrid between the Facebook Pixel and Conversions API, and basically taking Conversions API and building it out and making it more user-friendly, more accurate, more effective. I would like to think that Facebook would have something like that lined up, ready to go as soon as changes to cookies on browsers was made, so it was fairly seamless. Will that happen? Probably not. There might be a bit of a lag in between, in which case that might be a really difficult window for us Facebook advertisers. But if there are changes to cookies, even if there aren't, I'd quite like Facebook to come up with a new attribution system. It's not like Facebook is just going to go, it's fine, these changes have happened, it's going to negatively impact advertisers, let's just all crack on. They're going to do what they can to help us out. And the new attribution system that's likely to be a new and improved version of Conversions API, I think could be really, really helpful. Along the lines of less tracking, that also feeds into targeting, not just going to be able to track conversions in our campaigns, it also feeds into how accurately Facebook is able to target the best potential customers when you're running, say, a conversions campaign. And one of the impacts that we've already seen happening through the sort of latter half of 2021, and is almost certainly going to continue, is that lookalike audiences are becoming less and less powerful. 2 years ago, we would use lookalike audiences as our cold audience targeting option almost exclusively. We rarely use interest targeting options, particularly once an ad account is up and running and we've got some data in there. That is shifting. We still use lookalikes, so still recommend that you test them, but we are starting to use more and more interests again, as I think lookalikes are becoming less accurate because Facebook has less data to be able to use, and that makes the relative performance of interest targeting options more valuable. Definitely something to test. I'm not guaranteeing by any means that lookalikes won't work for your business. We're still using them a lot, but you don't want to just be using lookalikes like we would have been doing a couple of years ago. You now want to be at least testing a bunch of interest targeting options. I think that's going to continue through 2022. I think the cost of Facebook advertising is also likely to remain steady in 2022, or maybe even decrease. Now, we know that the price of Facebook advertising is set by advertiser demand. So how much do advertisers want to advertise on the platform? How much do they want to spend? That sets the price, right? Now, over the last, since Facebook advertising started, the demand for the ad space has gone up and up and up, and as has the price. But with the bad press that Facebook's had, with the impact from iOS 14, maybe even future impacts like we've already discussed, coming from a cookieless website setup, we're likely to see some advertisers spend less, some advertisers leave the platform altogether. Are they going to see better results elsewhere? Well, I very much doubt that. So they may well come back. We've already started to see some of that process where people are jumping over to, say, TikTok ads. They're trying that out because they think that Facebook ads isn't as effective. They find out that TikTok is nowhere near as effective for the most part as what they were doing on Facebook and Instagram when they come back. So we might see a bit of a boomerang effect, but I don't think we're going to continue to see more and more advertisers spending more and more and more, like has been the case over the last 5-6 years. So if you're able to get your Facebook ads to work as they are right now with a cost usually measured in CPM that's working for you, I don't think you have to factor in, okay, it's going to be 20, 30% more expensive next year. I think for the first time ever, that's unlikely to be the case, which is great news for us advertisers that stick through these changes, that work out how to make it work, and that crack on. Another change that I think we're likely to see in 2022 is Facebook advertisers using more and more in-app campaign types. So things like lead generation, messages, and relying less on sending people to your website, getting them to convert there. We know there are already tracking issues. There are likely to be more tracking issues going forward. So it might make a lot more sense to keep people within the Facebook family of apps, within Facebook themselves, lead generation being the classic example, but there are a number of other options. And that you're always going to be able to track because it's within the app itself. So you're going to have accurate data, you're going to have accurate results. And I think that particularly beginner Facebook advertisers are going to be much more comfortable with that setup, with knowing where their money is going, exactly the results they're receiving. And I think the effectiveness of those campaign types is going to increase. So if you're, say, generating leads via your website, definitely test using a lead generation campaign instead. You may well find better results, and retest. So if you test right now, perhaps test in 7-8 months time as well, because the balance may have shifted. I think that's a trend we've seen a little bit through 2021, and we're definitely going to see through 2022. And the last prediction I've got for you today when it comes to Facebook advertising over the next 12 months is that the baseline level of ad creative is going up. The quality you need to achieve for your ads to be successful is increasing. And this is particularly felt in video. It used to be that low budget, unedited, unproduced videos could still do reasonably well on Facebook and Instagram. You could use it almost as a way to connect with your audience. Like, Chuck, I'm a real person, you're a real person, let's do business together, buy my products, etc. As more and more professional brands are getting involved in the space, what users expect to have that trust factor and be willing to purchase from a company is going up. So I think it's going to be more and more important to hire proper video editors, to hire a videographer, to get graphic designers to create great images for you. If you are trying to cut corners in that area, in the ad creative area, that's not been a good idea for years, but I think it's going to get even, the downside to doing so is going to be even more pronounced during 2022. It's going to be even more important to go with really high quality ad creative, particularly around video. Invest the time, invest the money in it, and I think it's likely to pay dividends when you come to put your ads in front of people. We're starting to see much better results with the higher production value stuff. Okay, so there's no doubt that 2022 is going to be a big year for Facebook advertising. Lots of changes, some challenges in there, but obviously lots of opportunities as well. If you're an advertiser that can work things out under the new setup, you have a massive competitive advantage. If you'd like us to help you work through that, work through 2022, maybe even beyond, and we do offer done-for-you Facebook and Instagram advertising services, and you'll find a link in the video description below where you can click through to our website, book a call in with one of my team members who can tell you how our services work. You can let us know what it is you're looking to achieve. We can see if we'd be a good fit. We do have a 3K per month minimum budget requirement, so please only book a call if you meet that requirement. And yeah, hopefully we get a chance to work together. Thanks a lot, guys. Please give this video a thumbs up if you found it useful. Comments, ask questions below. I'm happy to go through and answer as many as I can. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.